Okay, good morning for those viewing online. As we see here on a screen just next to the computer here, we can see that quite a few people are online from many countries. We have 71 people that are currently following this stream, so it seems that IMBRSea is already popular also on YouTube. Let me start by just welcome you to the first webinar that we will provide you with for the next months. Just to present ourselves, so next to me is Marlene Roelofs. She is in charge of the coordination also of the IMBRSea program here at Ghent University, and myself, I'm Tim Depree. I'm the formal coordinator of the program. The aim of today is that we go through a number of practicalities, that we introduce you to a number of things that you may know already, but also that at the end of this webinar that that we provide some possibilities for questioning and answers. So you will see at the top of the presentation that you can ask questions via the Google Slides. I'll quickly check whether the questions are also open to everyone, because I get a comment that questions are probably not open to everyone. Our excuses for this. Questions and answers. Anders zou ik zeggen, dat is de mail gebruiken.
Ja, dan kunnen we IMBRSea doen.
Okay. In case the questions don't work at this session, you can also ask your questions via the regular IMBRSea email box, which is info@imbrsea.eu for the session of this afternoon, because we repeated this video streaming this afternoon as well. We make sure that questions can go in a more live way. Okay, welcome to IMBRSea. So the content of this presentation will be, I will give a bit of information on the IMBRSea background. We will go through some of the selection and the enrollment procedures. We will tell you a bit more about the mobility in the program. Then we will explain something on the joint event and activities that you may expect in the coming 2 years. And then finally also some practicalities for the coming months. Finally, we close then with the questions, answering the questions that come in via the email box or via the question and answering system that is open. Okay, first a bit of the background. So IMBRSea is a new program which will start in September 2017, as you know. But it's we do not start from scratch. We built upon a long experience of the IMBRSea program. So the IMBRSea program was initiated in 2008, so in 2008, with funding from Erasmus Mundus. And the program has been quite successful since, because over 450 students have graduated from this program since. The original program was called International Master of Science in Marine Biodiversity and Conservation. For the new IMBRSea program, we slightly changed, let's say, the scope of the program, but the content that was at the time provided in the original IMBRSea Plus program can still be followed by selecting one of the specialization tracks. Many of the partners that were involved in IMBRSea Plus are also present in the new IMBRSea program, and some of the joint activities that we will do in the new IMBRSea program will also stem from the old IMBRSea program. Now, this is a map that shows you the different partners that are currently involved in the program. So at number 1, you can see the small dot in the middle. You can see this is Ghent University. This is the coordinating university, and that is actually the place also from where this webinar is now broadcasted. A second partner is UPMC. UPMC is the main facilities of UPMC are hosted in Paris. but many of the courses take place at one of the marine stations. The marine stations are located in Roscoff, in Banyuls, and in Villefranche-sur-Mer. So the actual courses in one of the specialization tracks will most probably take place in the marine stations. The third partner is the University of the Algarve at the south of Portugal. University of the Algarve was just like UPMC already partnered in the IMBRSea program. A fourth partner is the University of the Basque Country. University of the Basque Country is a new partner that has joined the program. The fifth partner is University of Galway Mayo Institute of Technology in Ireland. In Galway, also nearby the Atlantic coast. Sixth partner is University of Oviedo. That was also already a partner in our former IMBRSea Plus program. The seventh partner is the University della Marche in Ancona in Italy that joined the new IMBRSea program. Number 8 is the University of Bergen that will join from next year onwards. And then finally we have, and that's something you have probably read on our website or in the emails, we have then finally the ninth partner that has joined is the University of Bretagne Occidentale in Brest. That will that joined the program for delivering the first semester from 2017 onwards. These are the yellow dots, the orange yellow dots. These are the main partners. These are the university that will also sign the diploma in the end. So every student will receive upon graduation a joint diploma. And a joint diploma means that all the rectors and all the legal representatives of all the universities that are involved in the program will sign your diploma, even if you did not do some mobility at that university. In red, you see many more partners, and this is just the first start of the number of associate members that are linked to the program. Associate members are different partners that will be involved for internships, for thesis work, for example, or for delivering parts of courses at one of the universities. These red dots are IMBRSea partners as well, and are the marine stations that are grouped in that research infrastructure. So, as I mentioned already, IMBRSea is strongly linked to the European Marine Biological Resource Centre, which is an infrastructure a joint infrastructure of marine institutes all over Europe. And when we set up the program, the IMBRSea program, we have chosen to reflect the thematic areas of IMBRSea, the research network, also in the master program, and to make sure that these thematic areas are also linked to potential future job opportunities. The advantages of this is that the students that follow a certain specialization track have also the possibility to do theses or internships or other specific tasks at one of the top marine research institutes in Europe that do research in those thematic areas. This is the website of IMBRSea, which we strongly recommend you to visit also at regular times, because there you can get an update on the research that is happening in this particular research infrastructure. This brings me to the next slide that you probably know already. This gives you a view on the total IMBRSea program, and what I would quickly like to do is go through it just to explain briefly, let's say, the overall structure of the program. So at the top part you see the structure of the first academic year. At the bottom part you see the structure of the second academic year. Every year consists of 60 ECTS, so you will have to follow courses or do activities that correspond to 60 ECTS. In the first, the orange parts are all the parts in the program which are common to all students. So the structure and the whole setup and the framework around it are common for all students, while the colored parts relating to one of the specialization tracks are specific then for that track that you choose, and the courses are specific to that specific track. So we start with the first module, which is the fundamentals module, which takes part in the first semester. There you can study at Ghent, at Brest, at Faro, or in Oviedo, and there you get 30 credits of courses. These courses are common. in the whole package. So it means that wherever you follow them, the content of these courses will be the same. The final outcomes will be the same. Examples that will be used to illustrate some concepts that are explained in the course will of course relate to local research or to local environments, for example, in the framework of field or practical work. After the first semester, you will split up in different groups depending on the specialization track you have chosen. There are 5 specialization tracks. There's one on production, management, conservation, environment, and future seas. And then within each specialization track, you have different possibilities to follow a certain thematic module of 18 credits. So in case, for example, you choose the specialization track on conservation, it means that in the second semester you have the possibility to study or at Ghent, so here in Ghent, to follow a module on experimental marine ecology, or you can go to the University de la Marche in Ancona, where you can follow a part on marine conservation. After that module of 18 ECTS, so 18 credits of courses, you will have to follow or to do a professional practice. The professional practice, the framework around is again similar for all students. And we close the first academic year with a first participation in an annual symposium. The symposium, I'll explain later what the content of this symposium is, but it's an activity where you will, amongst others, present also the experiences from your professional practice. Then the second academic year starts during the summer, so there is a short summer break. And we will have a first joint school in August 2018, where you will participate in. And in that joint school, we all gather together and we have about 2 weeks an intensive course where you do a whole range of activities, which I will briefly comment on later on. After that joint school, you will move to another university to follow a second part, a second thematic module within the specialization track you have chosen. So if you were, for example, in conservation track at the first year, then it means in the second year you can go to GMIT, UPMC, or the University of Bergen to follow a specific thematic module. At the end of the semester, there will be a so-called thesis preparation course, which still takes place at the university where you reside. This will be an online course with tutoring at the spot. So tutoring by people of the different universities. And then the final semester of the 2 years master program corresponds to thesis work for 30 ECTS. So there you will be independently do a full thesis research, and you will present the results of that thesis research again during the annual symposium, which is organized at the end of June. That brings me again to this slide, which shows you again the common elements with the number of credits corresponding to it. Yeah, and you will also see the different specialization tracks. So every student has to choose one specialization track, and within the specialization track you can then choose the different mobility options for the second and the third semester. If you go to the website, you will see, for example, if you click there on study program, that you can, on each specialization track, for example, you can click on, for example, the one on management of living resources. There you will see the learning outcomes of this specific track, but you will also see the partners that are involved in mobility at the different tracks, and you can immediately get, by clicking on the more info, a full view on the courses that will be available within this track. So we strongly recommend you to check the different courses within each track in order to make a good decision later on which specialization track you will choose and which mobilities you want to choose. So all this information is available on the website. If you go to the website and you select there information for applicants or for students, and you click on study program, then you get full details on the exact content of the different modules that are offered. Brings me to the second part, which is a bit more information on the selection and the enrollment process we have been going through, and we are still in the process of this for this edition. So as you know, there was a first deadline, the 30th of March, 2017. This is a small error here, not 2016. So the deadline, we received quite a lot of applications by the 30th of 2017. 30th of March 2017, and all these applications were reviewed by our selection board. So we had a board where 4 different university partners were participating in, and in total 16 non-EU students were selected for an Erasmus Mundus scholarship. These were the highest ranked students. 4 EU students were selected for an Erasmus Mundus scholarship, and in total the board has decided to accept to the program 217 students. So it means that these students met all the requirements and had sufficient study background in order to start the program. As you know, we asked you to submit by last week an indication whether you want to continue with the enrollment process, and 137 students have indicated so far that they wish to continue with the enrollment procedure. So this means that we consider these students as the students that will most probably enroll. However, let's say enrollment is only final after we have received let's say the payment of your tuition fee, and that we will really consider you then as a formal student of the program. So yesterday or the day before yesterday, on your student forms, more on that later on, you have received a formal letter of acceptance by the consortium, and later on in the process you will receive formal letters of invitation by the university where you will start your studies. So because these universities are the main universities where you will be enrolled in, and these letters will also be the letters that you can use, for example, during your visa process in order to get a proper visum in time to start the studies. Something on the IMBRSea student page. We have advertised this page. It's also on the website. You can find now a link to that page. This will be an important page for main communication matters about overall program matters. So nothing specific about certain courses, because at the different universities there will be learning platforms available where teachers will communicate with you. But let's say all the formal administrative issues related to the overall joint program will happen via that student page. So we recommend you to keep your data up to date there. So for example, bank details that will follow later on, but also elements like phone numbers, addresses, emergency contact details, for example. Please make sure they are always up to date. You will find there also a repository of documents. So for example, there you can find at this stage your formal acceptance letter to the program, but later on more documents will be found there. So if you ever would miss an email, for example, you will always find a backup of these documents in that document section. Later on, if you have a clear view on the students that have really started and paid to the program, you will also find the contact details there of other programs, fellow students, in the student pages. That will allow you to communicate then with these students, for example, to discuss certain things, for example, on housing or other elements. The enrollment process, a few words on that. So, as you have read on the website and the moment you applied, beside the application form that you sent in, the online application form that you sent in, we also will need legalized documents by post, so the actual hard copies at the IMBRSea coordination office. So for non-EU students, the deadline for this is the 15th of May 2017. So that's already within 2 weeks from here. So we highly recommend you to start the process to deliver these documents. Quite a lot of students already started this, and so we're receiving documents by post. These documents are required in order to make sure that you can be properly enrolled in the program, and we will make sure that these documents are then forwarded to the different administrations that will need those documents. For all EU students that have currently started the enrollment procedures, the first deadline is the 1st of June 2017. In case you have problems of documents that are not yet ready yet, for example, diplomas of bachelor degrees, it is possible to get exemptions on these deadlines, but please indicate this to us via email so we can mark it in your file, for example, for what reason certain legalized documents will arrive at a later stage. We recommend you as well to check the website again, because there it's clearly explained in the section on the application process how to legalize certain documents, for example, for which countries, which specific legalization procedures are required. This week you will also receive, and that's something we have decided based on the high number of students that have indicated that they want to start the program, you will receive the first part of the invoice for the tuition fee. I'm now talking only on the students that will start on a self-financing basis, so not for the students that were awarded an Erasmus Mundus scholarship. And the idea of this of this first part of the first invoice for your tuition fee, the reason for that is that we want to make sure that if you indicate that you will start the program, that you will also actually start the program, so that we don't do administrative procedures without knowing in the end whether you will start in the end or not. So when you pay the invoice, we'll ask you to upload a proof of the payment to your IMBRSea student page, and by paying the invoice you will also secure a place at your first choice year one university. So it's very important that because if you extend this to a very late stage to pay this first part of the invoice, it may be, for example, that at certain universities the maximum number of students has already been reached. The second part of the invoice, so the total invoice for EU students, for example, those that were granted a tuition fee waiver, for example, that will now pay €3,500. So the second part of the invoice for those students will be €2,500, and the aim is to issue these invoices around the 15th of June, and the payment deadline will be set at the 1st of August. From May onwards, you will also start receiving information from the starting universities, from the semester 1 universities. And there the idea is that the different coordinators will, or via webinars or via regular email communications, for example, provide you with more practical details on the procedures to take, for example, to enroll and to get housing at your different starting universities. After payment of the invoice, what we will do as well, we will set up a generic email account for you, and that email account will be the main email account that we will use for contacting you for IMBRSea matters once you are enrolled in the program. This email address will be firstname.lastname@imbrsea.eu. You can forward that email address to your personal email addresses, but we have installed this because in the past we have had often cases that, for example, emails that we sent out arrive in your spam folder, for example, or you change an email address or an email address is blocked, and therefore we have decided to provide for every student in the program an email address for at least the duration of the studies, and during the studies we may even decide, for example, to keep it open for at least 1 or 2 years after graduation, so we can stay in touch with you and you can stay in touch with your fellow students after you have graduated from the program. Okay, something on mobility, because IMBRSea is a joint international program, so there will be a lot of possibilities to be mobile in the program. You can take the program at the full extent in terms of mobility and change universities almost every semester, or you can be more limited in your mobility. The aim of the program is, because we have to deliver a joint degree, you have to be mobile for at least 1 semester. So you can stay, for example, at the starting university also for your specialization track, and you can stay at the same country, for example, for your professional practice, but then you have to go to another university, for example, for the 3rd semester where you follow your 2nd thematic module. But then after that you can even come back at the university where you started to do a research thesis there. If you do the program at the full extent, then it means that every semester you can change if you want and visit the whole of Europe in practice to study at a whole range of different universities. So when do mobilities have to be decided? So semester 1, so the starting semester is decided at application. There you have indicated which university you want to start at, and we have opened the possibility that you can change this still on the mobility form that was uploaded to your student page until the 1st of May. So until the end of this week, you can still indicate, okay, I wish to start at another university than the one I indicated already, although we recommend you not to change too much because we're already starting some preparations for administrative reasons at the different starting universities. Then the semester 2 thematic module. There also we ask you by the 1st of May to indicate which specialization track you wish to follow and which thematic module within that specialization track you wish to follow in the second semester. However, you will be able to change this still until the 1st of September of this year. But by the 1st of September we have to be sure, because we have to enroll all the students for the full academic year at each of these partners. So we have to be able to indicate, for example, to a second year university, look, in the second semester you may expect 20 students, for example, for a specific specialization track. Then your professional practice, which will be organized at the end of the first academic year. There you will be able to choose that professional practice with the deadline of the 1st of November of the year 1. So we will publish a catalog of topics at the start of the academic year, and you will be able to select from that catalog by the 1st of November. This should allow for sufficient time also to prepare mobilities, or for example to ask for visa extensions if needed, for example, and to make sure the paperwork is done in proper time. Then your second year, the thematic module of your second year should be decided by the 1st of March in this case 2018, and the thesis should be decided by the 1st of June 2018. So no worries yet on the selection of your second year universities. There's still enough time, and it may be, for example, that these deadlines can be slightly changed during the running of the course, depending on specific requests from students or from different universities. Then a few words about the IMBRSea joint events and joint activities. So the orange blocks, as we call them, there is quite a lot, and if you count the total number of ECTS, you will see that the whole package is quite large in terms of number of ECTS, which ensures also that we can deliver really a joint diploma, and that the main aspects of the program are really jointly in terms of organization, but also in terms of evaluation. So first we have the fundamentals module, which is organized in the first semester, so which will be organized from September onwards. And then that from the fundamentals modules, you will see that there is a number of courses that have been identified. And these are courses that were identified as the basic courses that every marine scientist or marine scientist in marine biological resources needs in order to go to one of the specialization tracks that are on offer. So we have a course on marine policy and governance. We have one on marine genomics. There's a big course on quantitative methods in marine sciences. There's a big course also on oceanography and one on marine ecology. And then there is also a course on marine GIS and spatial planning. That brings the total number of credits to 27. It means for the first semester there is still 3 credits left, and those 3 credits you can choose a transferable skills course. This can be a language course, for example, or a diving course, or there's different options available at each of the starting universities, but that's a course you can freely choose within the first semester. You can at the website get also the full content of each of these courses, so we recommend you again to have a quick look at what you may expect, for example, at the start of the first semester. Professional practice is the second joint element. Professional practice The objective of this activity is to become familiar with the different workplace functions, as we call it, and the roles that are expected from you once you will be active as a professional, a marine professional. So it's not the aim to do a research activity there or to really do a specific project. The aim is that you get acquainted to what it is to be active as a marine scientist or a marine professional at the work floor. The aim there is that it's an activity that does not exceed the 2 months, and it corresponds to a workload of around 240 hours. We will have a list of topics available by the 1st of October. And for the evaluation, we have set up a portfolio with a common evaluation framework for all students in the whole program. Then at the end of the first year and also at the end of the second year, there is the annual symposium, which is a new activity, which is an important activity, and we expect a lot from this. This is a 1-week symposium, an open symposium, where at least the students of this program will participate in. But the setup of the symposium is quite diverse. We'll start with 2 days of thematic workshops that will be offered by employers, by companies, for example, or there will be workshops on transferable skills, short workshop where you can get a bit of a feeling on areas that were not covered within the study program itself, but that are relevant, for example, for specific groups of people. After that, we will have 2 days of a real scientific symposium where where all the professional practice experiences will be presented, but also we will have a presentation of the thesis work of the second year students in the format of oral presentations and different thematic sessions. This is an important networking event. Very important because besides first year students will meet second year students, we will also meet their potential employers. We will also organize a lot of IMBRSea meetings during this event. There will be meetings of the student board that will be installed per university that you will go to, for example. There will be small meetings. The program board will meet as well to discuss matters. So this is really a key event in the total setup of the program. Note that if you attend this event, and it's obligatory for all students, during the event there is no extra costs for attending, so the participation fee that you pay covers the accommodation, the food, and the real participation to this event for the whole week. So something to keep in mind, that it's only you have to get to the place, and we will organize it in a place that is easily reachable by all the partners or by all the locations where students will study. The next event, the joint event, is the joint summer school that will be organized in 2018, and most probably this will be organized at the Sven Lovin Center for Marine Sciences in Tjärnö in Sweden. We have been working in this center for the past 4 years, where we organize spring school. Now, in your case, we will organize it during summer. These schools are quite unique in a European context because they allow you to do research, but you get also lectures, you get field experiments, you get science communication training. The unique element of these schools is that you will be able to do research on yourself, and teachers are only there as guiders. So it's a school where you learn really to get practical experience and to find solutions yourself for specific problems. If you want to know more about that school and some experiences and some stories from former students, for example, you can still check the blog that was open in the past few weeks about the past spring school. And we recommend you to do this because there you read, let's say, the student's point of view. It's not the teacher's point of view on that school. So many students indicate it as a very nice and very interactive learning experience. Then at the end of semester 3, we will organize a so-called thesis preparation course. That course it's an important course, it's 6 ECTS. It will be an online course, but with physical tutoring. So the university where you will reside, at that university there will be 1 or 2 people that will be available to you to support you for specific activities or tasks in this online course. The content of the course is related to elements that you will need during your final thesis. So we will talk about, you will learn about project management, data and information management, scientific communication, information management principles, then and also a number of hands-on exercises that you will do that will be related to your actual thesis. So that's quite important because that allows you immediately to put your thesis immediately in an applied context. For example, if we talk about science communication on your thesis, for example, you will be able to make a poster, to make a digital object, to write a press release. So that's kind of an integrated element of thesis and thesis preparation. Then finally, we have the thesis research for 30 ECTS. This is a personal research experience. You can do it at one of the IMBRSea partners, main or associate partners, and the report is in the format of a publication manuscript. This is quite important because in the past we have installed this habit as well in the IMBRSea program, and what we see on the basis of that is that about 30% of the research theses that are done within the program are actually published after a certain period. So it's a way to encourage people to really make a first publication out of the thesis, a first or a publication out of the thesis. You will also present your thesis during the annual symposium. As I mentioned already, it's an open symposium, but it's also streamed online. So it's an event where you get practice on really presenting in front of a big group of people, and where you get the practice and the experience to present and to ask questions and in a formal way. There will be very clear guidelines and also a very clear evaluation framework, and let's say more information also on the master thesis you can find already on our current website. So then a few practicalities for the coming months. Very important is the submission of all the paper documents. So we hope to receive in the coming weeks lots of posts here at the coordination office that you will be enrolled properly by the start of the academic year. For the preparations for the visa, there is a specific section on the website, Practicalities, where you have general information of the visa preparations, but where we have also uploaded per university a section on specific details on the visa procedures. That information is brand new on the website because we promised you last week also to update a lot of practicalities on the different partners where you will go to on our website. So please check that part of the website in case you are in the condition that you need to prepare for a visa. European students don't need to prepare visa, so this section is mainly for non-EU students that should make sure that they are here with the right papers, because this will avoid you a lot of additional practical problems once you are here in Europe. Then preparations for housing and accommodation will also start in the coming months. And again, on our website, we have included specific information per partner. So if you know that you will start, for example, at Ghent University, you will find there a number of links and a number of procedures quite well explained on how you can get specific housing. For the students that will come to Ghent, we will also provide you via email or via another webinar with more practical details, for example, on housing and how to get a room by the time you arrive in Ghent. Insurance is also an important matter for all activities during the studying itself. So all practicals, field works, internship, thesis work, you are covered by an insurance related to your enrollment. For those people that have an Erasmus Mundus scholarship, these people will also have a full cover insurance available. For other students that come on a self-funding basis, from Europe or outside Europe, we can provide you with the same insurance scheme if you're interested as the Erasmus Mundus scholarship students, but we will provide you with more information on that. And then very important element is also keep an eye on the deadlines and the key dates. because different universities will start at different moments. So keep that in mind and make sure you book your tickets and you have your visa and all administrative issues clearly ready in time. And please communicate, let's say, in case there are problems on specific things or you need an exception for a specific reason, please communicate this to us as soon as possible. So a final note is communication. So you can use email for communicating with us. So the general email address is the info@imbrsea.eu. Always clearly mention your application number. So that unique number will be your unique number throughout the full program. And that's much easier for us to quickly find back your files and to make sure we can act in proper way to the questions you ask to us. So this is a bit the content of this first info session, this short webinar. We hope that this gave you some useful information. So if you have questions, you can now ask questions on the Google Slides if it works, or by sending an email to info@imbrsea.eu. As soon as we receive emails, we will immediately answer them here online by just explaining to you in words, because these questions may also be useful for other students. So we will stay online for at least another 10 minutes to make sure that we have time to get all the questions in. Thank you.
Accepting questions from students.
Yeah, we changed the Google Slides questions. It seemed there was a small element that was not working correctly. So now you should be able to provide questions on the link. So if you go to this specific URL, you will be able to just write your questions. And you will also see the questions that are asked by other people. So that allows you to see, to avoid duplication of specific questions. Yeah. Yeah, we have a first question that comes in. Have all acceptance letters been uploaded to the student webpage? All the students that have been accepted to the program that have been indicating that they wish to continue with the program should have a document that was uploaded. Then we have a second question that comes in, which is the documents we need to send are the same documents we uploaded to you. Maybe Marleen can briefly comment on that.
Yes, so you all had to upload a copy of your diploma during your application, but now we need hard copies of your legalized diploma. So if you haven't legalized your diploma yet, you will have to do that now and send us those copies via post.
Yeah. So if you check the website as well on the applications, the section on applications, there you can also find actually the details on the kind of documents that we need to receive. Yeah. In case you have not received your diploma yet, because we know that a lot of European students are still in the process of their bachelor degree, for example, this can be provided also at a later stage, but there we need a clear statement from you or from your university, mainly from your university, that this diploma will be delivered at a certain date, so we can already provide our university with this specific information. There's a question coming in on since I'm not still sure about my bachelor degree until July, will you return the invoice? Normally, if you pay the invoice, our university will ask, because we pay an overhead to a university for administrative procedures, so the arrangement that suits you the best, but see this as an exception. In previous years we had similar cases. In those years, those students in the end started the later academic year, the next academic year, and then we just kept that money aside, and the enrollment only went on in the next academic year. But note that this is an exceptional case, and so it's not the aim that we provide all students with possibilities to change again their minds. So you will not get back the full amount, but at least a part of it after a subtraction of an administrative fee for it.
Then to answer, until when can I send documents? So normally we set the 1st of June or later, as soon as you have received your diploma. We advise you to, if you graduate in July, you will receive a graduation certificate most likely, and then we need to receive that graduation certificate as soon as possible. And then as soon as you have received your diploma, we still need to receive the legalized copies of your diploma. Until when it's difficult to answer, as soon as you have it.
As soon as they arrived. And in any case, you should have a legal statement by your university that you're studying at for the moment, that you will have these documents available by a certain date. Is it possible to postpone our application for 1 year and begin in 2018 in case of failure or personal problems? As I mentioned already, it is possible, on the other hand, your application you will have to submit a new application for 2018, because there will be elements that most probably will change in the application form for next year, and so the selection committee will again review your application. So in case of failure of diploma, for example, in the bachelor, this is a clear reason why. And also for personal reasons, for example, we also accept this. And as I mentioned before, for example, related to the paying back of the fee, there will be an administrative overhead which you will not get back. The bank account for the payment of the €1,000 will be made available indeed. You will receive an invoice, and you will a guiding email that will explain you in much detail to which bank account with which indication you should pay the invoice. It was done in a very easy way, and it's quite difficult to make mistakes on it. The only mistake you can make is paying a wrong amount, but once it's paid, it's quite straightforward. There's a similar question coming in as the one we have had already. I have uploaded my bachelor and master degree certificates and transcripts. Do I send all those? So it's mainly the diploma. If you have a paper copy that is stamped also of your transcripts, this is also, let's say, valuable information for us, and it can only help but the main element that we need is the legalized diploma of your former studies. So that's the major element. You will get an IBAN number indeed. How can we pay the invoice is the question. An IBAN number, and you can just make an international bank transfer. In case you have problems with international bank transfers, for example, I don't know, for specific countries, this might be difficult. We can just inform us about that once you receive the invoice, and we can try to find out whether we can find an alternative solution for that. To double check, all the documents now required need to be sent not online. So it's indeed not online, but via regular post. So we need the hard copies of those documents, the diplomas. You will, once you are then arriving at the university where you will study, for example, you will still have access to these documents later on. So in a later stage of your studies, you can even get back the formal copies. But it's just to make sure you're properly enrolled, that you're properly insured, and enrollment also has an implication, for example, on having access to student accommodation, having access to, for example, bike rentals, all those kind of practicalities that are interesting once you start your studies. When will the program really start? So each university will have starting dates. In principle, you can say that the program will start in September, so all universities start indeed in September. For Ghent University, it will be around the 26th of September. For other universities, there is a slight change on it. Most of them is around the 10th, 11th of September. As soon as we have the final details, and you will be in contact also with the different universities where you start, you will receive clear guidelines on when you're expected to be present at a certain spot. Okay, then receive, I cannot find the letter of acceptance. I'm not sure if I have received. The letter of acceptance is normally uploaded to the student pages. We will check, let's say after this video conference, whether it's indeed available for all students. It should be found in the section documents for download. So we will, after this webinar, check all the students, for example, if the documents have been properly uploaded. So if you don't find it right now, don't worry, by this afternoon it will be there. Okay, so there seems to be indeed with some students a problem on the documents that were uploaded. So this will be checked in a later stage. Yeah, maybe I can just project the questions here that come in. Because my colleague has a bit of problems with the questions. So I have a second exam session in August, and I get my diploma bachelor degree by the beginning of September. That's not a problem, but we will need a statement in your case from the university where you're currently studying at, that these are the dates indeed that you will have your diploma available, and so we can at least already continue with the other important elements. Ja, de questions.
The questions,
ja.
We hebben meestal iedere keer wat uitvalt.
Ja. Papum. Yeah. I'm just going through the other questions. Are the offers conditional? Because I still don't have my bachelor diploma till late June, I need to obtain to some specific score in my bachelor, or is unconditional offer from IMBRSea and I have a place in the program. In this case, you have received an indication of acceptance to the program. So it means that the selection committee found you acceptable to the program, of course on the condition indeed that you pass your bachelor degree. Then, hello, I'm from Indonesia. I already obtained my legalized diploma from the university. Should I legalize those documents again in the Belgium embassy, or can I send only the university legalized one?
You can find the guidelines on the IMBRSea website. So I think in your case it has to be legalized by the Belgian embassy. Yeah. But as mentioned on the IMBRSea website, you can find guidelines about how to legalize diplomas per country.
Yeah. Let's see if more questions come in. There's also a question, my legalized diplomas is in German. Do you have to send the legalized translation in English as well? Maybe I should switch to the website to show where to find all this information. So if you go for applicants, how to apply, then important dates. And here you can see, for example, which documents you need to send to us. In terms of languages, it's English, French, German and Dutch is accepted as 4 languages for legalized documents. So English, French, Dutch and German. We will also update this to the website to avoid, it's here important remark about translation. If your diplomas are not issued in English, French, German or Dutch, they have to be translated by a certified translator. So it's indeed on the website. There is also the link, the list of what is needed for which country can be found via this link. So if you click on that link, you will be brought to a very clear website that explains you all about the legalization of documents. So if you go through that page, then it will explain very well how to proceed with these steps. I see that for the moment no offers or no questions are coming in anymore. So we wait maybe 1 more minute to see if some people have still a burning question. If no more questions coming in, email, okay. No. Then I think we can close this first IMBRSea webinar right here, and we would like to. Yeah, there is an extra question coming in for self-funding students. Sorry, are there any other scholarships available? Here I just can comment. Oh, yeah. Here I can just comment on the fact that from our university we do not have additional specific grants. So there is the Erasmus Mundus grants we have. However, once you're enrolled in the program as a self-funding student, you may still apply for regular Erasmus Mobility grants at each starting university. And from the past, we know that in many cases students get these Erasmus Mobility grants for at least 1 semester of study abroad. We're making sure that within the program all the bilateral agreements between the different universities are properly made up. So there is possibilities, let's say, from a formal point of view. However, you have to keep in mind that these grants are dependent on each university. For example, for Ghent University, we know that the application for those grants, and also for the Algarve, we had experience in the past, goes quite smoothly. But let's say the amount of the grants and also the allocation of these small extra grants is not in our hands, but is in the hands of the faculty internationalization department. There seem to be also some questions that come in via the stream. The streaming hut, live streaming. Yeah. we're just going to go through the live chat. Yes, we make the question and answer recording becomes, and the whole presentation will be available on the video channel you have just visited and that you're watching. So I think within 10 minutes after we close this webinar, it will be available and you can check it again. Just checking if other questions are there. Yep. There's one specific question: would a document sent from WES be considered as legal, or I should send the official from my university? Maybe it's good, that's a question from Hooray D, that you send us an email with more explanation on what you mean by WES, so we can provide you with a clear answer. Okay, and I think all other questions have been answered. We will just check here whether new things. The deadline for the first invoice payment